This is episode 95 of my Sorare Journey, and today we have a big acquisition in the form of Erling Haaland. Now I want to talk today about the Sorare markets, why this is such a crucial time in the Sorare calendar to be acquiring cards, to be selling cards. So yeah, let's get into it. Now of course the examples work best when you refer them to your own journey, so I'm going to be talking about my acquisition of Erling Haaland first. Now if you'd watched the last My Sorare Journey video, I was talking about why I'm doubling down right now. Ultimately, I think prices have gone too low too quickly. We've still got, somewhere between, I can't remember, 8 and 10 games of the Premier League still to go. That, it's $3,000 cash top prize is still available in the Premier League, as well as all the others I've been doing consistently well. So don't slow up now, especially if you've got the gallery to sort of match it, which I definitely do. But Haaland was never really on my list. For me, he's always been one of the most overpriced cards in Sorare history because of his name, because of his goal scoring. But that goal scoring, yes, it puts up good averages, but it doesn't quite equate to a good Sorare score. Because, one goal for Haaland or one goal for Salah's going to have a lot of AA attached, whereas Haaland isn't really involved in link-ups. He doesn't create many chances. He's just a goal scorer. So for me, he's been overpriced. So why would you go out and get him? I did speak in the last episode that I am slightly bullish on Man City towards the end of the season. I think they're coming together better as a team, and I think mainly they've got some really good fixtures, which, even in this season, when they've had easy fixtures, they have absolutely pumped teams. So Haaland was and wasn't on my radar. And again, it's a case of too low too quickly. And I actually think I've been proven right here quite soon. I didn't expect this either. So, looking at his scores, you get your massive hundreds and you do get some 30s on some bad games. But what it is, which was really key, is his rare in-season price. So I saw him about, £253, which for me is just overpriced. But there was a card on the market for £200, and I was like, £50 off the last sale, that's in the region I'd be buying. Looking around at the other market, who I could get, who's got a better finish to the season, who's going to perform good next season, because I think a lot of the part people miss now is, yes, in season you're going to yield, but you can and should carry those cards into next season. And next season, if the card prices are similar or the same as last year, those early couple of game weeks, those first couple of 25, 26 season Premier League games, they're going to be fantastic yield-wise, because those cards could be going for £1,000, £2,000. So it's basically like playing Classic. It's basically like playing in season for cash, because those cash rewards will be there. The problem is, in-season rewards stay static, all the cash is the same throughout the season, whereas Classic season, the cards you win will probably head in a straight line down again. So you don't want to put too much emphasis on Classic, but you can't forget it. It's about what will this card be worth next season, at the start and at the end. So, someone like Salah, too risky for me right now to be picking up. But what actually happened in this is there was a little price battle. So you can see someone listed at someone then went and undercut to 190, and then someone went and cut to 185. And this was all in a matter of hours I'm talking about, because obviously I was interested in Haaland. So I was sending these offers out, I was getting rejected. I was getting a ballpark of where everyone would sell for. And as soon as someone drops a card, they're all willing again. When there is no floor price on the card, imagine these sales aren't here. Your last sale is 253. The current price is 200. You're scared that price could be 150, but you also don't want to get robbed and sell your 250 quid card for 150. You're basically finding a new floor. In my head, I was like, sub 200 would be fine. Sub 200 would be a good price for Haaland towards the end of the season. Take advantage of everything else. Keep in mind, this card sold for £1,500. Typically throughout the season, he was £800 card. So nothing's drastically changed. He's still a goal scorer. He's still going to start every game, near enough. It's just, you see this gap down in the market. It almost gapped down again. So it's 250 is a fine price. 200 is good. That was sort of my thinking. And when this price stuff's going on, I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, right, I need to make my action now, and before someone does something. I think I sent an offer for like 175, rejected overnight. I woke up the next morning and this guy had accepted 177. It was something that ridiculous where just didn't consider my offer, not even a counter, just pointless. But a couple of quid more. Yeah, go on, mate. And I was like, oh, that's awful news for me, because we've now got the new floor. It's 177. Obviously, I'm sure that guy that bought the card would have been looking at all the different options. So that's the cheapest on the market. So I had to start thinking and acting fast. But a lot of the sellers are still in this panic mode. And basically, when I'm looking at 175 to 180, that's £20 below what I thought was a good purchase price anyway. So I am 100% head over heels for this card. I would have gone in harder if I needed to. I could have got a second one, but when you're getting a good price, when one goes, the next goes, the next goes, the next goes, and my sale isn't even on here. So we got 177, 181, I think one under there at 181 as well. And mine was actually a little trade deal. So basically I negotiated this down to like 180-ish, 185. I know it says 195 on the day, but Simicast was vastly overpriced from reality. So I was just like, the problem is I'm going to get in this position where I've got so many good cards for next season that I'm wasting potential. I'm having good cards with good scores, not being able to play. So I thought, save myself 50 quid cash, and cash is always king, especially on Sorare, and just send some cards that you're really not going to get much value out of. Jota, João Pedro I like, but a classic season forward. I've now got Saka, Palmer, Haaland, Salah. What more do you need? I've literally got the best 4 forwards in the game, which is quite funny. So yeah, I basically got it. Probably 180 was a fair value of what I got him for. And as soon as I picked mine up, that's another one gone from the market. So, there was obviously a lot of active buyers at the time as well, and they just got swept up. And as I'm sure you've noticed, next sale 222, next sale 281. Now, I was talking to one of my friends about this, and he was like, well, would you sell him at 281? £100 profit, a week or two. I've played him in a game or two. And for me, an instant buy is never the same as a typical buy, because instant buys can include market credits. Instant buys get you good collection points. So I don't think 281's a fair price. I think 230 to 250 would be a fair price. And then if you're looking at it, that extra £50, not going to make an impact for me. So I wouldn't be looking to sell him. I think I could easily make £50 back on just the Leicester game that they're playing. But let's not forget, they've got Leicester at home, United away, Palace at home, Everton, Wolves, Southampton, Fulham. They're the sort of fixtures I'll be targeting. Not forgetting Moldova and Israel. Norway should beat both of those sides. And obviously it's the internationals at the minute. Of course, I got it getting a 63 against Brighton for me, which was very handy. So overall, I think it's a really good time to be in the market if you're looking at certain cards. I think certain cards are overvalued. I'm not saying Salah's overvalued because I don't know his price, but the risks associated with it. Let's have a look. 109 classic, 150. It's tough. With Salah, it's basically a coin flip whether he goes to, let's say, 0 or whether he's worth £300-400 next year. So when I've got one, I don't need to be playing those silly games. I played them last year. I won. I held on to my Salah throughout the Saudi stuff. You can't really see it here, but yeah, he went low and then he went all the way back high again. Erling Haaland isn't the only card I acquired from Man City that I'm really proud of the price I got. Ruben Diaz, typically a good scorer, last average of 50, not great, not outstanding. But his low 43 average really drove his price too far down. And I remember the times where Ruben Diaz was equivalent to a Van Dijk. And, City haven't changed that much where, Diaz is an awful player or anything like that. It's just the scores on Sorare data don't really reflect his reality. So I was managing to pick one up. I picked mine up. If we just put it to in-season, it'll be a bit clearer here. Someone got one for 22. I got a special edition for 26. That's perfect for me. Currently selling 30 to 26 again just now. Someone just bought that. Really ruining my video, mate. But yeah, for me, he's slightly underrated on how much of a good scorer he can be, or a consistent like 60 scorer. Like, you know, losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest, putting up a 60, that's great. I wouldn't be playing in against Brighton because I thought Brighton would score against them. You know, it doesn't take you too long to go back and see, you know, some really steady dark green scores. And this is where I'm talking about next season. It's like, right, you're getting Ruben Diaz for 26 quid. How's he going to score next season? For me, I don't see why Man City wouldn't bounce back to being an absolute super team. They'll have Rodri back. They're just going to have more time to gel as a team. I think if they buy a keeper, their defence is just going to be so OP. Obviously, I did want Gvardiol, but Gvardiol was just not at a interesting price for me. He did fly up to, you know, overvalued halfway through the season, but the last sort of sales were in the like £200 mark. And then we have got one lately at 144, which he does become more appealing. But still, for a defender, you know, when I look at defenders in the Premier League, at the minute, I'm looking at Christian Romero returning. Now, you might be thinking, Romero's not Guardiola. But to me, he pretty much is. You know, he's been out, sidelined, not had a good couple of games or whatever. But he is an elite Sorare player. You know, 70 in a 2-0 loss to Fulham. I think he's one of the most underrated players on the game. That's why he was one of my first pickups on Sorare. Now he's back fully fit. You can get him for 70 or £63. I would take 3 Christian Romeros over 1 Gvardiol all day. Or the reality is you'd probably take Romero, Robinson. Anthony Robinson was silly prices. And you got to remember, he's probably moving to a better team like Liverpool next season. £18 is just scarily low. With these additional in-season games. Now, this is a perfect example of what I'm saying. Like, Guardiola for me, overpriced. Robinson, Romero, 2 cards I already own. That's why I'm not picking up more. Underpriced. And it's a very key time in the market. Now, one thing I do want to take a quick look at that I haven't really done off camera. You know, I like to try and come prepared to these videos usually. But yeah, it's your relegation battlers. It's your relegation, who's going to go down and then absolutely dominate the championship. So, you know, looking at Leicester, I do actually have 1 card already. I did say as well, I will touch on collection bonus. So I've got Simpson Poussey for £12-13. It actually cost me like 6 because of, you know, I had some market credits in the bank. And that's getting my Haaland up to a collection bonus of 2%. For me, the 2-3% level is perfect on Sorare. Like, if I can just look at my, you know, in-season cards, Arsenal maxed out 3%, Chelsea 3%, Tottenham, Newcastle 3%, City 2%, and obviously I've only got 1 card for Matt Sales in the former Nottingham Forest, so not too bothered about that. But remember, collection bonus lasts for next season as well. So now is a good time to pick up some cheap collection bonus for, you know, basically the rest of time. I don't think anywhere over 2-3% is that helpful unless you're a full stacker. If you're a full stacker, I think you need to be going for 5% minimum, because you'll just be collecting, or you'll be playing against exactly the same stack every week. So that little XP bonus helps you not have to be like, oh, I'll captain Diaz over Salah, and it's like, you know, 9 times out of 10 Salah will outscore Diaz. You don't want to be the guy waiting for a 1 in 10 chance, basically. What I was talking about before, I do have a Leicester card in the form of Odsonne Edouard. Picked him up for £3 because he's ex-Celtic. He'll probably make a move somewhere. But yeah, he could be someone that if he stays at Leicester, I just don't see a reason why he would be so bad. Dekova Reed, maybe. The problem is I just don't have enough knowledge of basically the likely relegated teams, which are Leicester, Luton, and Luton? Luton are relegated the Championship. Leicester. Oh, you're all going to be yelling at the screen. This is such a bad moment. Leicester are bad. How can I not get this? Leicester are bad at football. They're getting relegated. It's not Luton, but I'm stuck on Luton. Ipswich. And who's bottom of the league? Southampton. Yes. Oh, wow. Painful day. But I don't have enough knowledge of those cards to say like, oh, this guy's definitely going to stay, because you get the issue where your best players, they are going to move on. So, I don't know how Connor Cody's been playing this year. Has he been injured? Or has he been a sub? But, traditionally a Premier League standard player. Yeah. So I don't think I'll be playing the relegation game this year. I played it last year with reasonable success. I had a little bit better knowledge, I'd say. I've had some fantastic times. Like, I remember getting, I think it was Crescencio Somerville, and Drewsbury Hall. Absolutely smashed it all season and limited for me. But it's a numbers game. For me, you'd need to take all of them. And what really scares me is the champion to challenger sort of slip now. It's not as OP as it was. So I see a lot of people suggesting it. And I just tempt on the side of caution and say certainty is one of the best things to have in the market. You can't be certain, Harry Suter stays, or maybe you can be certain Vestergaard stays, but you can't certainly start to put up good scores. I don't know. Even the fact of, if you had heard Luton players who went down last year, they didn't have a good season. The Championship's a bit unknown. So for the Premier League, I think I'll be staying away from that strategy this year. But there is a lot of good stuff going on in the market. There are a lot of deals. I know people think classic cards will get nuked again, but it doesn't really matter, because if classic card gets nuked again, and in season is like the only priority, those prices are going to be even higher. So when you're coming in with good classic season cards, you're going to win those. The only thing I'll say is what I said before: it doesn't last forever. Those cards will come down over time. But the first 6 months, first 3 months, first 2 months, you'll be playing for some massive prizes in Classic, regardless of whether they bring in the thing they did with the MLS, where everyone's going to be having 5 cards, or, I've seen some people talk about what they've done on Major League Baseball, where they've basically got locked systems and some other complex gamifications, which I'm not too sold on, but I'm not too knowledgeable about at the same time. So in the meantime, we'll just keep doing what we've been doing good at. That's earning a yield every single week, or as many weeks as we can, trying to pay back the cost for free. We're pretty much close to it. We need an extra push if we want to get the whole team completely paid off. And we've had a good start to it in this. Now, I will say 460 points. Is that what you need for prizes this week? Because that is brutal. I don't think anyone's even there yet. But it looks like one of those things where only 460 points is going to get you a split of the prize pool. This guy has done it. So he could be winning $6,000 on his own if no one else does it. Now, I do think some people will do it, but you're basically going to need to have a really high captain score and 4 or 5 decisives. It could be 5 decisives. I think it will be 5 decisives for a 460. I've started with a 105, which base scores an 80, 70. Where did it tell you the base score? I don't care for my score after bonus, I thought they used to show it pretty clearly, but yeah. Rice is on a 91. He's on a 85. That is fantastic. They've both got another game to go, but I'm more focused on Haaland tonight, and then Son and Dubravka. I don't know if Dubravka's nailed to play. I saw he played the last game, put up a good score, but who knows? I mean, surely Son does something. He didn't do anything in the last game. I can't even remember who he played. Oman. So you hope, but you got to understand 460 is a huge score. This isn't a bad start either. Romero's on a 57. There's the base score. They don't do a base score if they've got 2 games. Okay, that's fair enough. Underwhelming, these international weeks. It's good you can play Sorare, I guess, but these point targets I hate. If I hit a points target, if I click the lowest points target and I hit the highest point, I'm just going to be super annoyed. I know it's my fault, and I just don't think it leads to a good community. Fine if it's football and it goes against you, it's uncontrollable. But when it's controllable and it's not really skill based, I guess it kind of is at some point. But I just don't think select your targets are great. And also, I don't think this like 460 points is that appealing, because I just looked at that and I was like, no chance unless I've got some really good cards. Thankfully, I've got a deep gallery now. And the other thing, yeah, it was the game before you had to have 5 in-season cards. So not happy with the international weeks, but I don't want to go on about it. I think for now, I'm just liking the look of the market. I think a couple of cards are cheap. We've seen a little bounce already, so be aware of that. But besides that, yeah, not doing too much else. Just sticking to my strategy. Thank you for listening. Hope you learned something. All the best. Cheers.